Hey there, Mr. Thompson here with a video math lesson on multiples and factors. Okay, we're going to talk about special types of multiples and factors. Multiples are simply numbers that when you multiply one number, you get by any other number, you get a multiple of it. So take 3, and 3 times 2 is 6. So 6 is a multiple of 3 and also of 2. Factors are numbers that divide evenly into other numbers. So in the previous example, 2 and 3 are the factors of 6. Okay, also sometimes called divisors, but factors is sort of a more technical way to say it. So we're going to look at some special types of these, and we're going to start with what's called the LCM, or lowest common multiple. Okay, lowest could also, some people use the word least common multiple with the L. Means the same thing. Okay, the LCM, the definition of an LCM is the lowest, of course, number that each of two given numbers divide into evenly. So it's one number that these two other numbers share, so that's why we use the word common, and it's a multiple of each of them. Okay, so for example, let's find the LCM, the lowest common multiple of 4 and 6. Okay, now what some people do is they just write out a bunch of multiples of these numbers and then find the lowest one that is a multiple of both of them. Okay, so we could list a bunch of multiples of 4 and a bunch of multiples of 6, but the quickest way to do this is to list the multiples of the larger number. Okay, starting from the smallest multiples and get bigger until you find one that is a multiple of the smaller number. Okay, and it's really easy to list multiples. You just take the number, so we're going to take 6 because it's the bigger one, and we're going to multiply it by a bunch of numbers. The first number to multiply it by is 1, okay, because 1 times 6 is 6, and 6, believe it or not, is, it is a multiple of 6. It's 6 times 1, so it's a multiple. But 4 does not go into 6, so that's not the answer. Okay, so let's try another multiple. Let's multiply by 2, and 2 times 6 is 12, and 4 does go into 12. 4 times 3 is 12, so that's our answer. Okay, pretty easy. So let's look, and of course you might have been able to do that in your head, but as these numbers get bigger, they get a little bit trickier, so this method here is a pretty good way to go. Let's try one more. 3 and 21. Okay, let's take the larger one, 21, and list some multiples. 1 times 21 is 21, and it turns out, hey, guess what? 21 is a multiple of 3, which of course you didn't really have to do 1 times 21. You could have just asked, is this number a multiple of that one? If the answer is yes, then guess what? That's your answer. Okay, 21. So that is lowest common multiples for you. Let's look at something else here. HCF, okay, which stands for highest common factor, or sometimes called the GCF, greatest common factor, or also sometimes greatest common divisor. As I said, divisor and factor are the same thing. Okay, so what is this? The HCF is the largest number that divides evenly into each of two given numbers. Okay, so just like last time, you'll be given two numbers, and you want to find the highest, right, the largest number that goes into both of them. So let's look at an example. We're going to find the GCF of 6 and 9. Okay, and what you could do is list the factors of each of these numbers, the 6 and then the 9, and then find the biggest one that goes into both. However, there is a faster way. A little tip for you: find the factors of the smaller number and find the largest one that also goes into the larger number. Okay, so this time we'll start with the smaller number, 6, and we'll just list the factors, and we want to find the highest one, so we'll start with the highest factors of 6. So the highest factor of 6 is actually 6. Okay, 6 goes into 6 one time, but 6 does not go into 9, so that's not the answer. Okay, next highest factor of 6, it's not 5 or 4, those don't go into 6, but 3 does. Okay, and also 3 goes into 9 3 times, so that's our answer. Okay, easy. One more example. Let's do 12 and 17. 12 is the smaller number, so let's find the factors of 12. One factor is 12. That does not go into 17. Okay. Next one down would be 6, which also does not go into 17. 4 also goes into 12, does not go into 17. 3 is a factor of 12, does not go into 17. Finally, the last factor of 12 is 1. And 1 obviously does go into 17, so that's our answer. So it's kind of a trivial answer. They basically have no common factors except 1. All numbers have 1 as a common factor. So it's sort of a trivial answer. So we basically just say they have no common factors, except of course 1. Now the reason for this, you might have recognized that 17 actually has no factors besides 17 and 1. And of course 17 doesn't go into 12, so the answer was going to be 1 from right off the bat. So this is a special kind of number. It's called a prime number. Okay, so prime numbers are 17 is a really good example. They're numbers where the only factors are itself and 1. Okay, so 17, the only factors of 17, the only numbers that go in evenly are 1 and 17. So that makes it a prime number. Okay, and there's an infinite amount of these prime numbers. If you keep counting up to forever, you'll get an infinite number. You'll never stop finding prime numbers. The first 10 primes, so they're only divisible. Prime numbers are only divisible by 1 and themselves. Okay, the first 10 primes are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 17, 19, and 23. Those are just good numbers to be familiar with. If you're ever asked to find factors of them, then you know right away that these numbers only have factors of themselves and 1. 1 doesn't count. It's not a prime number, and 2 is the only even prime number because every other even number has 2 as a factor. Okay, composite numbers are another kind of number that relate to factors and multiples. Okay, composite numbers are numbers that just have more than 2 factors, so they're basically just not prime. Okay, so other numbers go into them. The first 10 composite numbers are 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 18. Again, 1 doesn't count, but these are your composite numbers. So that's factors and multiples. Good luck. See you next time.